Hey folks, David Stewart here. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. We'll play a couple games, but do a little chat before we start. Actually, I'm going to pull up an article, and you can read this article if you want to read it, or you can just listen to what I'm about to say. Because, I don't know, I consider this topic pretty important. And there are some very good reasons why it's important, and it really has to do with meta and what used to be Facebook and what the future of the metaverse and VR is going to be. So anyway, you can read the article. The article's a shorter version of what I really have to say. So here's the gist. The metaverse sucks, and you will use it. This will sound like, what do you mean? Why would I use it if it sucks? Well, Facebook sucks and you use it. A lot of things suck and you use them. And I think that the metaverse is actually going to be one of these. So the metaverse sucks really for reasons that most people are not talking about. Most of the criticism surrounding Meta tends to focus a little bit on the practicalities of using virtual reality. And the problems with that, right? Like that you have this brick strapped to your face, that the VR world looks bad, like metaverse looks like the Miiverse. The environments are boring. There's no reason to go there. There's nothing fun to do in the metaverse. And these are all valid, but the real reason the metaverse sucks has to do with the reason that Facebook sucks. And Facebook sucks because at one point the internet, and really the internet as a whole, we could probably bring the whole internet into it at this point. At one point in time, the internet was an escape. We really loved the internet, especially in the early 2000s, because it was an escape from the social conformity that was oppressive to us. PC culture is nothing new. And in fact, especially when I was a younger person in the early 2000s, it was so oppressive to be on a university campus, to really never be able to express your inner thoughts. The internet was such a welcome relief because by putting on an artificial avatar, by being someone else, you could actually be yourself. You remove some of the social stigma that would go with actually speaking your mind on certain things, making dirty or offensive jokes, things that you normally couldn't do in the real world, you could do on the internet. People love the idea of a metaverse. That's why people like to play World of Warcraft. It's why people like to play EverQuest, right? They love the idea of a virtual world that you can go into and interact with people and work on projects. That's what World of Warcraft is. You log in, you have tasks like quests, there's an economy, there's clubs like guilds, there's corporate goals like defeating Nefarian or whatever the current raid boss would be. This is a little bit diminished with modern WoW, but it's still there, right? It's still part and parcel of the MMO experience. People love the idea of a metaverse. Why don't they like the metaverse? I think the reason it's really going to suck has to do with the fact that it's more like Facebook. Because what happened once Facebook hit the scene is, rather than the internet being an escape, the internet became real life, following you away from places that real life normally didn't follow you. Like, you have Facebook friends that you work with. Well, all of a sudden you have to start monitoring your speech and thoughts at home when you're using Facebook. You start to have an increasing encroachment of making public everything that's private through Facebook. So the internet just became more of real life, but worse, where you maybe are not having to deal with leftist ideologues constantly in your real life, but as soon as you log on Facebook, they're everywhere spouting the worst kind of crap, and you're related to them, so they're really hard to avoid. And the worst part about Facebook, and the reason that people have distress using Facebook, it's something that people have noted at this point for 10 years, is that people get depressed looking at social media because of numerous effects. One of the ones is that you're looking at an idealized version of other people's life, and your own life looks bad by comparison. You don't see the problems that are existing in another person's life. There's many things that go into that. You can read numerous articles on that effect. But why can't we stop using it? It's because it becomes the default method of communication over time. So yeah, I would love to stop using Facebook entirely, but I have friends and family that would never contact me outside of Facebook. Facebook is their default method of communication. And if you're not on Facebook, guess what? You're never hearing from that person again. It's replaced calling, texting, meeting in person. It's replaced all of those things. So even if you don't like Facebook, because of its hegemony, because of its dominance, you're forced to use it. If you want to advertise, you're forced to use Facebook. You're leaving money on the table if you're trying to not use focused ads on Facebook or Google. So Google's the other side of that, right? I'm focusing on Facebook because that's the meta company, but it's the same idea with Google. You would love to be able, if you hate Google, great, but how are you going to advertise? How are you going to advertise without Facebook and Google? Are you going to put up newspaper ads that,
you have 4 timers. The 5-minute timer is reset with 5 minutes remaining. The 20-minute timer is reset
what
with
on
20
earth?
minutes. The 45-minute timer is reset with 45
There you
minutes.
go.
And the 1 hour and 10
Great.
minute timer is reset with
Yeah, we
10
love
hours.
technology here. Why are there a bunch of timers? What happened here? You know what? My kids got into my phone. Oh my gosh. That's probably what it was. I might have timers go off in the middle of this. That's a great way to interrupt this little speech. It's like, here's technology working badly. Anyway. What was I saying? That completely derailed my train of thought utterly. So yes, Facebook is bad, but you can't really avoid it. As an advertiser, you end up having to use it. As a normal person, you end up having to use it. There's all kinds of sites that do all their authentication through Facebook. There are rideshare sites where you have to have a Facebook account in order to use it. So it becomes ubiquitous and unavoidable. And that's where Facebook has made their money. They've made their money milking a giant installed user base with advertising money and things like that by being ubiquitous. But they got ubiquitous because originally Facebook offered something people wanted. People liked to use Facebook back in 2008 because it gave you more connections with the people you cared about. It gave you an opportunity to be more social than otherwise. You could be social with the people you liked before there were smartphones, right? You could go on your browser and see what all your friends were up to that day and what were on their thoughts without having to call each and every one of them and have that kind of conversation. So at first, it offered something people really wanted, sharing photos and just this social media experience, which was really great, and people really enjoyed it. After a while, though, once it became ubiquitous, they no longer had to deliver that good experience. And in fact, they changed the way the timeline worked, I think about 2011, 2012, and everyone hated it. It stopped being chronological. They stopped seeing their friends, and they started seeing promoted things. It just destroyed its usability. Why didn't Facebook go away when they destroyed the usability of their timeline? It's because at that point, they were already the hegemon. It would take something equally powerful, actually something much more powerful, to disrupt that. Facebook has also peaked in a certain way, right? They're not going to be more users jumping on Facebook than there are now. So the company has to think about, how do we do the next thing? How do we secure our growth in the next level? And that's, they believe, is meta. So the mistake people make when talking about why meta sucks and why the metaverse sucks is to look at it like a Facebook product, number one. Why would I use the metaverse when it sucks? Well, the answer is you'll actually be forced to use it in the way that you're using Facebook now because it sucks. How are they going to become ubiquitous if nobody wants to use it to begin with? There's no adopters rushing to enjoy the metaverse. It doesn't offer anybody anything. Well, it offers certain people some things, and I'll get to that. The other half of things that I think people are missing with this comparison is they're looking at the VR headset through the lens of what it was originally designed to do, which is to play video games. And contrary to popular belief, I guess for people who don't use VR, VR is actually really good. It's very functional at what it does for the most part. It is really cool to use it. It's really fun to use it, and it delivers a lot of really unique experiences. It's not a completely mature technology, but it's mature enough that it is very usable. Just like how you would say if you were playing PS2 games, video games are fully mature. They're completely able to be played with the PlayStation 2. But of course, the technology can get way better than it is now. So the technology doesn't need to improve for metaverse to be ubiquitous. And we look at this $1,500 headset. Who would buy a $1,500 headset with light coming in the side? Yeah, maybe it's comfortable. Companies are going to buy the $1,500 headset. And that's really what we have to get down to. Why will you use the metaverse? It's not because you like it. It'll be because your company requires you to use it. And that's because the metaverse solves a bunch of problems. It solves numerous problems for corporations and gives them a real ability to utilize their labor force in a way that they haven't been able to utilize it before. And there's a lot of positives that go with that. So I'm going to focus on the potential negatives. But the reason it will be adopted by companies is that it offers a huge amount of productivity boosts and ability to monitor productivity, which is really just as good. So why would a company buy a bunch of $1,500 headsets? Well, they work really good for something specific, which is augmented reality. Augmented reality is where you're overlaying things in the real world. So, and the fact that the headset can do AR for only $1,500 and do it well. It has cameras on the outside, so you can see the world around you and you can layer things on top of it. And you can use virtual computer screens. You can have a virtual meeting with people. Think of like Star Wars stuff where like there's a hologram of a person. Yeah, but the hologram will just be on your face, right? Like, Microsoft was trying to do this one called HoloLens. So it's like that. It'll be an augmented reality experience or a virtual reality experience kind of in one headset. $1,500 is a lot of money if you're buying a toy. But if you're buying something that will replace you commuting with your vehicle, it's not that much. If you're buying a piece of business equipment, it's not that much. People pay $2,000 for their little MacBook laptops all the time. And people will jump on a job if it gives them a free MacBook every other year. And they'll take less money in order to get that free computer. Even though it's like an essential part of their business, they like to use the technology for its other utility. There's limited utility with the Meta VR headsets. You could play some games really at a lower quality than the game-specific ones like Valve Index or even PSVR. PSVR 2 coming out next year will likely be another step up in the quality of VR gaming. And so we look at it through the gaming lens without thinking about the productivity lens. So you have lots of people telecommuting because of the COVID thing, right? It's been a huge thing. I wouldn't doubt that at some point Mark Zuckerberg and company switch their focus with the metaverse to we really got to come up with business solutions, because that's where this potential is. If you have a bunch of people put on their headsets, they meet in the metaverse, they can collaborate in real time. There's even eye contact because it tracks your eye movement and does things like tracks your facial expressions, and so your avatar can make facial expressions. In the future, they'll have photorealistic avatars that really look like you. They look exactly like you, and then they're expressing like you in a very similar way. The demos I've seen for that are very uncanny valley. Like it looks like a wax model of you going, not doing all of these really high quality expressions, but they'll be able to do basic expressions. This is where I think it gets dangerous, because while it offers a big solution, you have to think, hey, how much gas do you spend commuting? How much time do you spend commuting? Where instead of getting in your car and driving for 30 minutes into the city to do your tech job, you just put on your augmented reality headset at 8 o'clock and start working with other people who also put on their VR headset at 8 o'clock, right? The potential for productivity without having to leave your house is immense, especially if you're working in a tech job and most of what you're doing involves working at a computer, doing spreadsheets, writing emails, or designing things in software, writing code. All of those things can be done in the metaverse and collaborating with people. So that's a big solution for the corpos. But think about what the technology does and what that enables a corporation to do that is very frightening. It can track your eye movements. Well, that means you're sitting in your virtual meeting. Hey, Billy, you're not looking at the slide. What? Oh, I'm not. You can't, in a Zoom meeting now, you can log into a Zoom meeting and read webcomics. And no one can really tell what you're doing, right? You don't have to pay attention to a Zoom meeting. Or you can, close through your little camera eye thing. And you don't have to, you can pretend. But in the metaverse, you can't. Like, you can't have another window open and see it, right? It'd be very difficult to be reading out of the corner of your eye. Hey, Bill, you're not looking at the slide. And then they could track your facial expressions. You could have a computer say, oh, you seem perturbed. You are looking irate. You are looking sad. They can monitor your emotions because we broadcast our emotions through our face. So not only will you have to monitor every little thing you say, you will have to monitor what your face is doing, what your thought to face expression pathway will have to be disconnected. That's like a loss of humanity right there. It's one thing to shut up. It's another thing to never express your thoughts physically ever either. But that's where we're going to that's where you're going to end up as an employee who has to use a meta headset, is that you won't be able to actually express your emotions with your face. You're going to be operating your face the same way you operate a computer, right? Like, your fingers make words happen, but your fingers are you, but they're like an interface for typing in a way, right? So your face is going to be an interface for communication with, with the people around you in the metaverse. And that's going to be really disturbing. And the other thing is too, think of the advertising potential. Right now, an ad on Facebook or something, I can track impressions. That's how many times it shows up on someone's feed. Supposedly they see it, but you don't know what a person's looking at. Well, with the Meta headset, you can tell if somebody's looking at an ad or not. If their eyes are looking at, and you can tell how long they looked at the ad with their eyes, giving you a whole lot of metrics for how well an ad is working and how you target the ad. You can see if somebody's feeling sad. Boom, here's an ad for antidepressants. Oh, somebody's looking angry. Let's give them an ad for anti-anxiety medication or something, right? So you can track someone's facial expressions and their eye movements, and you can have a computer that does evaluations and comparisons, and then will give them targeted ads based on their mood at that moment. Think about that for a minute. That is very disturbing to me. And you could totally make it so you can't even look away from the ad. So here's an ad. You're like, well, I'm going to look away. Boom, ad. Boom, ad. I can't get the ad out of my face, right? That's what it's going to be like. And, I'm just going to opt out of the metaverse. Your employer will require that you buy a Meta headset, or will give you one. They'll give you $1,500 is not that much money if you're running a business. You're paying somebody $75,000 of labor expenses in order to do what? To produce things of value. $1,500 is like a standard equipment cost. That's not that much money. It's really not. So, you could require someone to buy just give them a $1,500 headset. Now you have to log in. Great. Well, my company's not going to do that. Yeah, but when every tech company has done it, then all the other big corporations are going to do it, because the tech companies are the ones with all the people who can telecommute in to do their job. So they'll start adopting the VR headsets. Then Walmart corporate will start adopting the VR headsets. And then you're a small company that maybe you sell yarn, right? Oh yeah, I'd like to talk with the customer. Let's meet in the metaverse, and then you can show me your samples in the metaverse. Show me your color samples. Well, I don't have a VR headset. I don't believe in the metaverse. Okay, well, I'll just talk to somebody who does. So eventually, once it becomes a hegemonic thing in the business world and everybody's forced to use it for business, then it's going to be something that becomes unavoidable for your business. That your business is going to have to put up this expense. It's going to have to buy headsets and train people to use them. because other companies will expect you to use it. Just like how you can't opt out of having a phone. You can't opt out of having computers as a business. It's going to be an extension of that. That's how they're going to get you. So with all that in mind, even though it's very disturbing, I might buy some Meta stock. It's been on a downtick, right? But looking at this device and the metaverse and what it will actually be used for, which is for telecommuting, that's how they're going to get you. It doesn't offer a product that people want in their casual lives because they'd rather put on their Valve Index and kill people in Skyrim. That's way more fun than the metaverse. Or log into World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV. That's a better metaverse than the metaverse. But it's not about what you want. It's about what it will be used for. And it will be used for telecommuting. Once it's used for telecommuting, then it's going to become ubiquitous and you're not going to avoid it. Do I think it's going to be something that people are going to be spending all their free time in the metaverse? I actually don't think so. I think people will want to escape from this the same way that they want to escape from social media and the internet in general. Some people will be addicted to it. There's going to be issues. There's going to be maybe even neurological issues. I don't know what this kind of thing will do to your brain yet. We don't know a lot of these things. But I think most people are not going to be in the metaverse all the time. Rather, they'll use it as a business tool, just like they use social media as a tool now. I think personally that social media on your phone is a lot more potentially addictive because this is something that is just on board. I'll look at Twitter. I do it. You guys probably do it too. I'm bored. I'll look at my YouTube comments. I'm bored. I'll look at Twitter. You get bored for 2 minutes and then it's very convenient to go look at social media. I don't think it's going to be like that because it's an immersive experience. So you're not going to, I'm bored, I'm going to go hop in the metaverse. No, what you're going to do is you're going to be in the metaverse for specific reasons, which means it's going to be easier to distance yourself from it as well. I guess that's a potential benefit. But there's a lot of potential benefits for workers, and that's going to speed adoption too, is that you don't have to commute, zero time commuting. Like my wife telecommutes right now, and it's great because she used to commute almost like an hour, right, to get to work. So that's 2 hours a day spent in the car listening to audiobooks. Kind of a waste. Whereas you could spend those 2 hours with your family. That's a big boon. You can live where you want to live and work where you want to work with the metaverse. That's a big plus to workers. You can choose your community. Great. You want to live in a community of you want to live in an Anabaptist community and commute in. I don't know if they believe in that. They might find some theological thing it's in the barn, so it's okay, right? But if you want to live in an Anabaptist community where they're really, everybody has the same religion and cultural values and commute into your desk job, you can do that. Do you want to live in a Muslim community and commute into your desk job? You can do that, right? So you can form these balkanized communities, which people will want. People want to be around in the physical world with people that are like them. And the metaverse will actually allow them to do that with more fluidity. So to say that there's no benefits to workers is not true, but there's a very disturbing ability to control the workers in a way that has never before been seen, where you can monitor their emotions, you can monitor whether they're paying attention, you can monitor what they're doing. All of these things are there. We already have hints of what a company can do. Or in education. Imagine using this for education as well. So they'll expect to see it in colleges. Expect universities to let you rent or to loan you a metaverse headset so you can go to your virtual class. It's gonna happen because of what it offers. It's gonna be top down because of what it offers corporations. Less than people, but people will kind of see the benefit of it. Oh, I don't have to actually get in the car and go to class and have people coughing on me because I'm very afraid of COVID or something. Or I just don't want to commute to school. I won't just want to log into the metaverse and sit in a virtual classroom and take virtual notes on my virtual computer with Office on it, and that's what I want to do. There's a huge amount of potential there, and I think that's what's ultimately going to make it work. And really make people attracted to the idea and be willing to use it. You say, hey, would you rather commute into work for 2 hours or just put on this VR headset for 2 4-hour sessions? That's really comfortable, apparently. I don't have one, but apparently it's very comfortable. So which one would you rather do? Well, I think we're going to see the metaverse. Remember in Futurama where they could place ads into your dreams? Yeah, it's we're almost there, right? You can play ads into everything. It's going to be really disturbing, but also for a lot of people good in a way. So it'll be interesting to see what's happening. I'm actually really considering buying Meta stock. I should have just say I already bought it. Don't follow what I say, but rather like what I do. Why would I buy it? Well, I think it's cheap, and I actually think that their vision for it is going to be very successful. I'll just put it that way. I think they're going to end up selling a lot of headsets, and they'll probably make even more money on advertising by facilitating all this stuff. It won't be like Facebook, though. So making a comparison to Facebook, like we're bringing Facebook into a virtual space. It won't be that. It's more like we're going to allow an imitation of a physical environment so people don't have to physically move close to one another in order to do traditional in order to do corporate work. No, you won't need the metaverse for half the jobs, right? You don't need to be in the metaverse to be a sanitation worker or a welder or something. No, those are real jobs where you do real things. But for the information class, for the white collar class, it's going to become a ubiquitous thing. That's what I think. Oh yeah, I was going to say, as a teacher, we had this program. It's called Acellus, and it's really good, actually. I'm not here to like sell Acellus. They don't pay me anything, but it's a company that designs this process for managed learning, let's call it, and accelerated learning. So they have all kinds of courses. Let's say you have a student that is failing math, and you assess him, and he can't do addition. Let's say he's a freshman in high school, because this is the application we use it for. He's a freshman in high school, and all he can do is addition and subtraction. He doesn't know multiplication. So you plug him into this program, it gives him a test, it assesses what he knows, and it brings him down to the level of the stuff he doesn't know, and it gives him a bunch of assignments and shows him how to do things like videos of instruction plus a bunch of exercises. Math is an example, but they even have one for like AP Music Theory. I used their AP Music Theory course for a lot of the exercises and informational videos. Like, boom, here's this guy's doing a lecture on this, and then I'm going to show you how to do some stuff when I taught AP Music Theory. I utilize it a lot, but in this case, it's completely managed. So you take the kid, you put him in front of a computer, he does the lessons. If he stops doing the lessons, you have one teacher who's like monitoring at a computer all the other kids in the classroom. Hey, you stopped typing. I notice a yellow thing pop up. You're slowing down. You're not paying attention anymore. Your rate of work has slowed down. The teacher goes over there and checks on him. Let's make sure we're working. What are you having problems with? Oh, you don't understand this part. Let me teach it to you. Right? So the physical teacher only comes in when the software monitors a slowdown or the kid stopping. It's to put the kid back on task. And I can tell you as a teacher, the vast majority of learning happens through practice. It happens through repetition, especially with something like math, handwriting, all those things. It happens through the process of doing it. It's much less about the teacher presenting the information in a special way that makes the kids understand it, and them just doing it enough times to where it becomes like second nature. So that Acellus would monitor that, and then the teacher would only intervene in these classrooms of accelerated learning when the kid needed help. So you bring the kid back down to the level where he's at, rather than the level that they put him in, which is freshman math, when they really are at a fourth grade level. And then you, at the maximum rate that they can learn, you have them learning. And you're always assessing them with every single exercise they do, and repeating lessons when they don't get the material. You bring them back to the lesson like, oh, you missed all these, you got to do this one again. So it constantly is remediating a student to bring them up to their as high a level as they can get. Some kids are never going to get up to the high school level because they are just, maybe they have a learning disability when it comes to math, or they just have a lower IQ, right? Which means they're not going to learn as fast as other kids, and they're probably not going to achieve as high a result. But you are giving them the maximum amount of learning that you can give them. This was a really good program. And I bring this up because people are like, teachers are so important. I say this as a teacher. Most of it's practice. It's not that the main difference between a good and a bad teacher is actually classroom management. It has nothing to do with how you present the material at all, but rather, are you able to get kids to sit down, shut up, and do their work? If you're able to do that, you're a good teacher. And most administrators with experience are like, yeah, the main problem I have with teachers is not that they don't know the material or the lessons themselves are bad. It's that they can't manage the classroom. Even a really bad lesson, a bad lesson with a well-managed classroom, kids will learn more than with a good lesson in a badly managed classroom. It's a prerequisite. So anyway, a kid learning at a computer is able to get a huge amount of learning done because of the way that learning really works, versus just having an expert teacher who's amazing. And people love that, like Stand and Deliver, Edward James Olmos kind of story about amazing teachers making a difference in kids' lives. But the truth is, it's a lot more mundane than that. It's much more about getting the kid to focus and practice and remediating him. It's just a very long process. That's what learning is. So imagine this, but we have it in the corporate world, and we have it like more ubiquitous. It's not just, hey, you stop typing there for a minute, Bill. It's like, Bill, you're not looking at the slide. Number 602615. In my little article, I gave the employees numbers because they're completely dehumanized. But you're not looking at the slide. I noticed that that your face was expressing anger or malcontent at our seminar on the gender differences between the 150 different inclusive genders that we use at this company. Perhaps you need to have some remediate training on gender sensitivity. So the level of invasion of your thoughts and your mentality in the corporate world, that potential for that is massive. And that's the real danger. And even if you want to opt out of it, you're going to have a hard time, because if you're in the tech sector, if you're in the information area, if you're in education, if I was going to go back I could imagine going back into university teaching in the metaverse. And if someone offered me we're going to be a metaverse teacher, I'd be like, an hour, I don't have to commute. I'd have a hard time saying no to that. I'd have a really hard time saying no to a metaverse teaching job that just required me to put on a headset for an hour and give music theory lectures or something like that, and like play some music at my computer. Like, I could totally do it. I've thought about how to do music theory seminars using YouTube, like this kind of stuff, and I would love to do that sometime. In fact, I may do that, but imagine how much easier it would be in the metaverse. I'd be like, oh, I could even tell if somebody's not paying attention. Hey, Jill over there. Do you understand what I said? How can I remediate you? Just the way I would in a real classroom. Because in a real classroom, I'd see Jill over there not paying attention. Like, Jill, is there something that you don't understand? Or like, have you heard this before? You seem a little bored, right? I can pick students out and see what they're doing and feeling. I can do that in the metaverse too. I'd have a hard time saying no to that job. I'd like to teach people in the metaverse. But the corporate potential is pretty huge. All right, let's take a look at the chat some more before we play a couple games. Yeah. Most of those remedial kids that absolutely reject such a system. It doesn't matter whether they reject it or not. They're in it. Doesn't matter whether they reject it or not. They're in it. And it works. Same reason why it doesn't matter whether you reject the metaverse or not. It's a job requirement. Sorry. It's a requirement if you want to take this college course. Sorry. A badly managed classroom makes any lesson almost secondary to what's ever going on. Exactly. Yeah. If you're not managing your classroom well, dude, you're sunk. Like, you're just not going to make it as a teacher. It's the number one thing administrators work with new teachers is classroom management. I was going to make a video with my wife, actually, because she had a lot to offer on this when I talked to her about it. Like, how do you survive your first year as a teacher? The number one thing is classroom management. You have to come up with a system that allows the classroom to manage itself really well, that doesn't require you to fight with kids or anything, that makes it smooth and easy and a quiet and calm learning environment. If you can do that, you're going to make it. And the amount you struggle with that is going to be the main struggle. So once you get that under control, you're going to be good. The other one would be using administration. Administrators are very good at knowing how classroom management works. They were teachers themselves, and they deal with it like daily, trying to get teachers to do classroom management. So if you're having trouble, you just like call up your principal. You're like, man, I really cannot get this class under control. Like, can you come observe and then tell me what to do? A principal would love for you to say that to them, because that's an opportunity for them to make the classroom better. That's what they want. They're not going to look at it like, I'm going to observe how bad you are and fire you. They're like, no, I'm going to see the potential of this teacher, and I'm going to help you succeed. Administrators are wanting to make that classroom a great place for kids, and if they help you do it, you got to think by the end of their first year, if you're down on classroom management and like your classroom's going really good, even if you had some rough patches, they're not going to fire you. They're like, yeah, he figured it out. We trained him well. Let's keep him around, And they're not going to give you the pink slip. Which is, if you can make it through 2 years as a teacher, then you'll get tenure. If you can get to that third year, then you just have really good job security at that point. The problem is, in my experience, a kid having skill gaps through no fault of their own, ADD, is very rare. Yeah, well, it's not that it doesn't matter why they have the skill gaps. Like, I come up with maybe they have a learning disability, so that they're learning. In other words, their learning speed is not going to be the same as their peers. I bring that up. A lot of times we have this bad expectation where the kids who are the most behind are somehow going to catch up to their peers. That would require them to be learning faster and better than their peers, who may be already learning at a really good rate for them. So it's not always a realistic expectation. But if you can get them down to the level that they can actually learn something new, they're going to do nothing. They're going to get 0 out of sitting in an algebra class if they can't do multiplication. So you take them down to the level that they're at, then they're learning something. They are getting better at math, even if they are behind their peers. I'm not into this thing like everybody has to be the same and everybody has to have the same achievement level. No, we just want to we want to prepare you as good as we can. We want you to learn the most we can. I'm a parent that homeschools. I want my kids to learn the most they can. And if it's more than other kids, great. And if we're behind compared to the standard, we're just going to work as good as we can with it. And people learn at different rates at different ages. There's so much that goes into it. So it really is not about the reason that they're behind. They could be behind because they had bad teachers. That's very common as well. You could have a teacher that simply didn't teach him in the 4th grade how to multiply, never remediated him, never taught him the basics. Well, then you social promote him to 5th, 6th, 7th grade. He just keeps failing math every single year, and you just keep moving him on to the next math course, hoping he'll catch up. No, you need to take him back down to the basics and teach him what he's missing. Teach him what he's missing, and then he'll have a chance to get closer to his peers and maybe even get to his peers. You don't know. Some kids are really smart, but they have a knowledge gap. Some kids are slower learners, and we're not accommodating their actual learning speed. We're putting them in an environment that's too accelerated for them. That's not doing them any favors, as much as we like to pretend that everybody's a blank slate. Some kids are not going to be as good as others in specific subjects or in general. And so we need to work at their level so that they can actually learn something. Because if you're working far beyond their level, they're not going to get anything. They're going to get like 0 instead of being at 25%, they're going to be at 0%. So slower learning sometimes really called for with kids and can really help them. Thank you for the super chat, Sound Engraver. Thanks for the recent Storycraft videos. Thank you for watching them. I love making them. Tried your suggestion from Keys to Prolific Writing, Keys to Prolific Creativity. Let me link it. About dressing up as if you're going to work. Not sure if it was a coincidence or not, but I had a good writing session today. It might be coincidence, but it changes your attitude. You know, I used to wear a suit to practice, right? I'd wear good clothes because it's like I'm going to work. It's a mindset thing. It's a reinforcing. I make myself look good, and that puts me in a focused place where I'm not just casually doing this. I'm doing this for real. I'm being serious. You know. I don't do that when I write, by the way. I tend to write in, like, I'm wearing, like, you know, Adidas sweatpants or something right now. So, you know, like, I'm wearing pretty casual clothes at the moment. Turn on the fan. It's getting a little warm. But it was really helpful for me practicing and to go to a practice room rather than practicing in my living room. You know, I go to the practice room to practice. And it helped me a lot. VR rehearsal would be rad if they can fix sync issues. Yeah, the sync issues is the hard thing because music requires so much precise timing. It's more precise than gaming. So it's really hard to get timing and sync issues down for like online rehearsal stuff. Very difficult. I wonder if companies will lower wages if you work from home. We can deduct a few dollars an hour since you don't need to pay for transportation. Well, here's what I would expect. So here's another layer to this. Because you are opening up your potential employee market for more labor, you may have wages go up or down depending on the context of what's going on. In other words, you're able to get a worker from somewhere that's not close to you. So local wages, so like the prevailing local wage is not going to affect your corporate wage as much because you can hire a worker from Texas rather than one from California. So If you're in Texas, that could increase your wages because you are now interfacing. You're now able to go anywhere to the highest paying employer. So for a good worker, it can raise your wages because you don't have to move anywhere to get that extra salary from a better job. If you want to live in Gulf Coast, if you want to live in Mobile, Alabama, you can live there and you can commute into New York. And so you can compete with New York people for New York salaries. And that's going to be way more value in Mobile, Alabama, where everything's cheaper. But the reverse of that would be that if you live in the Bay Area, you now have to compete with people who are willing to work for a little bit less who live in Texas or Arizona. So it could lower your wages locally if you're in an expensive place, but raise them if you're outside of that expensive place because you open up the labor market a lot more. So it could be very good for workers. And then you have to think, okay, the guy working in San Francisco, all of a sudden he's having to compete with Texas workers for the wage. Maybe he's like, well, if I'm going to be getting paid $5,000 less a year, maybe I'll just move to Fresno. I'll just move to a cheaper area in California. Why not? That could potentially mix up a lot of things, but I don't think it will lower wages as much as people think. I think more likely by opening up the labor market, you're going to have better workers able to command higher wages while living where they want to live. If only all teachers had the same mentality as you. The unfortunate thing is a lot of them don't. Most of them have a very, very good heart. Most teachers I've met have a good heart about it. They want to be a good teacher and they want to help kids. That's the truth. I would say, though, that it's about 50-50. 50% of the teachers are actually pretty good teachers. The other 50% either don't care or care but are bad at what they're doing and don't really improve, or are in it for really bad reasons, just bad at what they do. The thing is that the bad, I think, has a more disparate impact than the good in public education. So if you have one bad teacher at the elementary school level, that can set you back. And if you have two bad teachers, it can lower your performance tremendously. So that's really the problem, is that I think a bad teacher can have a bigger impact than a good teacher. The negative impact is bigger than the positive impact. But in general, it's a profession that I think we idolize the profession too much rather than viewing it as a profession of people who have standards and things, which is how administrators really want to look at it. Instead, the propagandized view is they're these amazing angels who teach kids for no money. It's I'm trying to think how much I made as a teacher. I think the last year I worked, I made $78,000 plus $11,000 worth of benefits. So almost $90,000 as a teacher. That's not bad for Central California at all. It's quite good. Now, a lot of that's eaten up by the cost of health insurance. They give you an extra $11,000 for health insurance. You pay a lot in taxes, income taxes, double income taxes in California. So a lot of that gets eaten up by the government. But, most people, if they're like, what? Teachers make $90,000? I'm like, yeah, they do. There were teachers that made over $100,000 at my school district, $100,000 per year plus benefits, and it was a pretty poor school district. So you hear that people school teachers don't get paid anything. It's compared to what, right? They do pretty good if you bother to actually have, they show the baseline plus 0 credits. You're going to be further on the salary schedule just by getting a teaching credential. All right, classroom management. I think we need to bring back the stocks, maybe a little one in the corner of the room. If you're doing good at classroom management, you actually don't need anything like that. You don't need any big threats of punishment at all. The kids get with the program because you're offering them something that they want out of the experience. Not all kids are going to, some kids are going to be naughty toddlers no matter what. It doesn't matter. What you do, they're gonna hate, and those are the tough kids. But 95% of your kids, if you have a good setup with your classroom, you don't really need to worry about I need to have big threats of punishment to get kids to do what I want them to do. Usually that's actually not necessary, in my experience. But you know, every kid's different. Every place is different. All right, that's a new book, Afterglow, Gen Y. My, you know, my thoughts about Gen Y and technology is like we're the last generation to have a childhood that was really free of kind of the ubiquitous internet that's everywhere. So that has an impact on the way I view the VR headset, which is very critically. Other people are going to have a different view of it, where it's just going to be more natural. It's going to be natural for younger workers to put on that Meta headset and go to work in the metaverse. Whereas my generation and older are going to view that as like perverse and weird and stupid. It's like, this is like Ironforge, but really dumb, you know? It's like, I'd rather go hang out in Ironforge. It's like, you can hang out in Ironforge in VR right now. And it's actually cool. One thing that's cool about remote is the potential to move around and not be taxed based on where you actually are. Think high-level salary with low-level taxes, no taxes. Some states are trying to take advantage of that, where like if you work in the state but live out of the state, they'll tax you for your income that you earn from the state. So California's trying to do that. I know New York tries to do that. They try to double tax you. So if you lived in California and like commuted into New York, like or telecommuted, then you'd have to pay New York state taxes and California state taxes. It'd be really ridiculous. Gen Y heroes, soldiers and firemen, Zoomer heroes, blue-haired teachers and TikTok nurses. Yeah. And so many of these bad teachers, they just believe that like after the communist revolution, they'll just continue to be teachers. No, you'll be in the fields picking rice, and Bubba will be teaching your class because he's the one who is actually from the proletariat and can teach them the right things. The public school teaching profession reminds you of Dolores Umbridge from the Harry Potter books. Yes, she's an excellent archetypical villain for that reason. In fact, I might do a video just on her and like the evil teacher, because it's an archetype that you see in a lot of British literature. You're going to see it a whole lot if you read Roald Dahl. So she's really a new version of the Roald Dahl evil teacher. Why was the evil teacher such a compelling archetype? It's because, well, kids view most adults as evil. They view most authority that oppresses them as evil. There's bad teachers, and that's why they hate schools, because the teacher treats them terribly. An authoritarian bureaucratic nightmare that teaches an outdated structure of living. Exactly. It's rule by DMV, ladies. That's the worst kind of rule. It's just, you know, you have to follow the rules. I had to pay California state income tax 1 year despite never having lived there. Yeah, it's awful. It has to do with like where I'm trying to remember all the specifics, but yeah, it's a pain. It's like Thunderbluff, except I can't jump off the edge and kill myself. Oh, that's bad. All right, let's play a little bit of game. We can keep talking about this stuff. But yeah, that's my thought. Yeah, the metaverse sucks, and it's going to be worse than I think a lot of people realize. However, it's going to happen because of reasons that most people aren't thinking of. They're thinking of games when really we need to be thinking of how a corporation would end up using it. Oh, there he goes. All right. It's wonderful, wonderful sounds. You know, like the replies to my tweet on the metaverse were like, I'm not going to do it. It's like, good luck. You know, it's going to be really hard when your employer says that you have to do it. I don't remember where I was at. Oh. Let's find out. Is this the right save file? No. Hopefully I didn't lose this. I think that's probably right. 1:32 p.m. That's probably correct. Oops. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Did we have the cutscene? I don't remember if we had the cutscene or not. Hold on. Did we get what's his face? Oh, we got Vincent. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So now we get to go up the mountain, I think. Right? Experience some more of this. These weird shadow creatures hanging about. Wait, is this the end? You gonna talk to me, buddy? Give me room. Zach is the real hero. Yeah. I heard they're like doing new voices for the Crisis Core remake, which is like weird to me. Like, it seems very unnecessary. All right, great Sephiroth left us over the mountains, gone. Hi David, I learned flamenco from your channel years ago and play jazz now. Cool. Just saw you live and want to say thanks for the lessons. No problem. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I'd love to do more teaching in better ways. Oh, that's a place where we can save our game. Let's set. Oh, okay. First of all, let's fight a monster before we save the game. All right, here we go. Oh, he hits hard. I mean, she's hitting hard now. These little pterodactyls. See if I can set up our party here too. One thing I dislike about Final Fantasy VII is just the amount of effort required to set up your party is just really annoying. Let's just put it that way. It's very annoying to set up your party. Like the materia part. So like I gotta put her in and I gotta maybe take the materia out of her thing. You know? Choco Mog, Steel, like I gotta, you know, I have some like, I gotta take all the materia out and then put my other dude back in here. Like I want to take her materia out, let's say. And, you know, every time. No. So we have like a good arrangement of materia here. And I know I have someone like Barrett, you know. I'll put Vincent in here and use him for a bit. The problem's way worse in 8, yeah. Black Panther 2 has a higher audience rating than the best MCU movies of the years past. Thoughts on Rotten Tomato manipulating audience rating scores to trick people into liking bad movies? I think it's more like it's a marketing thing, right? They want to always have a marketing thing. But I think the money that you make is the real story. You know, if it flops, then it flops. It doesn't matter what the audience score is. You know what I mean? It's only part of the story. See what I got here. Lightning. Orbital. lightning. All right, got that. We'll do all, and what do we have here? Ice. Ice or fire? Probably fire. I don't remember what we need to use here. Steel. Transform, time, manipulate, that doesn't matter, all this other stuff. Why not do that? It's air scotch, it's got a bunch of stuff. Poison, gravity, seal, destruct. Restore all. Okay. Revive. Alright. I think we're good. We're good to go here. Let's save our game. Would you consider playing the Resident Evil 4 remake when it comes out? Also, if you ever played the original? Yeah, I have it for GameCube, I think. And I think I have it for PC. When it, which one did it come? I thought I remembered it GameCube. I could be wrong though. Yeah, it needs to remove all materia from people not in the current party button. That shows up sometimes when it makes you switch parties. But they just need it as like a... It's just like a button, you know. Running through the snake path. Let's go up to the chest. There it is. The rune blade. Butterfly edge. There we go. Well, this doesn't have that, so let's just switch that. And ice. Let's do elemental, and then we'll do this. And we'll do fire. Down here, all and fire. There we go. Now we're set up pretty good. And we'll do order. Put him in the back. Bayonetta 3 was a lot of fun. It looked like it was really pushing the hardware from what I saw of it, but I haven't played it. Lay flat. Ouch. Heal him. In 2005 was when the original GameCube came out. I didn't until it came out on the Wii, though. I didn't remember it coming out on the Wii. I like the GameCube version. It was good. GameCube was a great system. I think it just got kind of overshadowed by the library of the PS2. It's like finding a new Wii U game. Yeah, Wii U had a lot of great games. A lot of great games. I think a lot of the catalog for the Switch is Wii U games that people didn't play because they didn't buy a Wii U. So a lot of the early success of the Switch was just them porting over games that were new to people. That's why, like, pretty early in the life cycle of the Switch, I wasn't super interested in it because a lot of the first party titles were just games I already had on the Wii U. I can go up the mountain here, right? Gotta go around this way. I don't remember if there's an item up here, or if this is where I'm supposed to go. Oh yeah, there's a chest up there. This is like finding your way up through the pixelated mountain. I liked Wind Waker a lot. It's one of my favorite Zelda games, actually. Especially love the ending of Wind Waker. Plus Barrette. No. Now I think that might be for Katchi, however you pronounce his name, Kate Sith. These environments looked really good on the CRT, though. I'll say that. They really did look good. Always enjoyed them. Galleon Beast. Okay. What does this do? Let's find out. Oh, he turned into a werewolf. Okay, rad. Or no, he turned into like a behemoth. Well, that was cool. That's a cool limit break. Cross the bridge over the perilously spiky mountains. Ba-da-ba-dum. Harrier. Apparently can't learn that. Death blow. They're coming out with a Phantom Hourglass remake for the Switch. Cool. I have that on the DS, I think. Right? May not have better graphics, but the biggest plus is you won't be forced to use the crappy DS touchscreen controls. Yeah, that was... the touchscreen was like this thing that, we have to use the touchscreen. There were so many games that used the touchscreen that were just annoying to use the touchscreen with. I remember a Star Fox game where you had to steer with the touchscreen. Like, what were they thinking? But DS was a very exciting device when it was current. And I think it influenced a lot of game design later. Cookie Mama first came out on the Nintendo DS, where you just are like chopping things up by touching the screen. There we go. The World Ends With You was the best implementation of the touchscreen. I'll have to check it out. I've never played it. Like, some of the things they've done on the Switch have also been cool. Like with the Joy-Cons and stuff, but ultimately, like, people kind of default back into, like, regular controllers. I'm not sure why that is, but it's a thing, People will... There's a safe spot over there. Ooh, there's something there. Which way do I go? How do I get that chest down there? I'm gonna go down here. Oh, there's several things here. Can I get them? There's a monster there too. Yeah, Super Mario Maker was a touchscreen killer app. How do I get that chest? The original Super Mario Maker was great. I loved it. And it was just infinite content. Infinite content is so fun. There was like so many wacky levels you could play. You never run out of Mario levels. Spirit Tracks was fun. I have it. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I haven't played it in forever, so I'm not sure how clearly I remember how good it is. But I did like Phantom Hourglass. Though again, I don't clearly remember the game because I only played it one time. Or I only played it when it came out, and that was the only time I beat it. Never revisited it. But it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the Final Fantasy XII game they had on the DS, which was like a weird RTS where you used the touchscreen. Actually worked really well, like surprisingly good for what it was. Checking memory card. All right, here's our boss. I don't remember how to beat this boss, so let's figure it out. Hell combo. Wow, that hit pretty hard. Some of our enemy skills here. Maybe summon something. Big horn. Oh, it stuck you with the big horn. go enemy skill, big guard. It's a really good skill. Never played it because of the bad reputation. Two was fun, but the thing is, you couldn't progress in the game unless you like had a guide. That's basically how it was, which really sucks. You know, that's what was bad about it. So Castlevania 2 really, it was fun to play. It was fun to like upgrade your wit. There was a lot of fun things about it. The problem really was that there were things that you had to do, like stand in a corner while selecting an item to have a tornado take you away. They just really, I mean, they just made no sense. You could summon Shiva here if we wanted to. Sense. We'll use sense on him. Berserk Dance. $5,000. Let's try Bolt again. See how hard Bolt was hitting. I wasn't paying attention. Oops, I should have healed there. Hopefully we don't die. Yeah, so Vincent's limit break is he turns into a beast and just goes berserk the whole time. I wonder if I should put him in the front row for that, like if he'd be hitting harder. Oh, he heals himself. For a lot. 1,000. Beast Flare. Yeah, Simon's Quest has great music. Oh, fire heals him. Okay. That's good to know. I bet ice does something cool. We could also seal him, like silence him. That's what we got here. Question mark, question mark. Let's see what that does. I don't know what that does. We'll find out. Drops a weight on him. Well, that was cool. Did you play that Capcom game Demon's Quest or something? It was a Castlevania type game, pretty fun. Had hidden levels. I don't think I played it. Oh, man, there was one I'm thinking of on the SNES that was like that. I think this this dropping the weight hit pretty hard. I was surprised. Let's see here, Bio 2. Oh no, let's do it here. Ooh, well, we can't do all for some reason. Alright. There we go. It's big heals. You don't want to summon Ifrit, because they'll just heal him. Try Death Blow again. Hell combo! Yeah, unfortunately, he does a fire damage attack there that's healing him. I have played DuckTales for Game Boy. The DuckTales for SNES is the one that I really remember, though. That's the one that I definitely remember. Use Big Guard again. Try buy a 2 on this guy. Hell combo. No. Luckily we can... I think the healing wind actually goes through the big guard, like the shell. I think it like does all its... Yeah, it does like its max heals like through the shell, which is really useful. Wow, that poison's hitting hard. Let's see what we got here. Hit him again. Man, it just keeps hitting him for fire. Yeah, his damage seems a little low. I just hadn't used him really, so. He's also healing the boss with fire magic, so that's less than ideal. You know, less than ideal. A different character would probably do better. It's like undoing all my hard work here. Now we got him. Wait, hold on. What's this thing here? Counter materia. Ooh, that's what we need right there. We want counter attack. Oh, that's going to be vicious. Alright, save real quick. Now, like, I want to get that shiny thing there. How do I get it? There's a chest and a shiny thing I want to get. Can I use a tint here? Oh, I can. There we go. Okay, how do I get up there to get this thing? Ooh, a dragon. I can manipulate him. Manipulated dragon. Dragon flamethrower on Cloud. See if he learns it. Yes. Sweet. Oh, Vincent got fully healed. What am I doing here? Somehow. Fire heals him. There we go. That's hitting hard. Fire Fang. Yeah, how do I get... I don't remember how to get this item. Can I, like, jump on here? It's an easy today. Stare down. Everybody's stunned. Is that what happened? Go. Breath of the Earth gained. Let's serve it this way. Okay, well, let's check it out. So I can't seem to get that item. Oh, it led me out. Wait, did I want to go out? I don't remember. Alright, whatever. I might have to set it on Eris. Yeah, good point. Let's take a look. Forget how these things work sometimes. Limit. Here's all status elements. I think, man, I think it's hard to say. Actually, the status elements is better. Because you can always heal with your magic, right? If you can get rid of all those status elements. Okay. Now, did this take me to a new place? Oh, it did. It did. Do I want to explore that other room? There might be something in there. Let's go take a look. You don't need to explore like every little thing in this game, but like there's that shiny thing there, and there's that chest. Now, how does one get it? I'm guessing you have to like go down these pipes. Something with these pipes, right? Or am I wrong? Bet you have to go down a pipe. Blade beam. So if Sephiroth writes with a pencil, do you think that pencil is 30 feet long? He certainly has a very large sword. Very long sword. Oh, I should use the spell. There we go. Yeah, counter's pretty rad. You use cover and counter together, and it's a pretty good combination. I think these pipes go to different pipes, right? And then try going down all the pipes to get the stuff, but I think that's what we need to do, so. There we go. There it is. Power Soul. What does Power Soul do? Mind Source. Raises spirit. Let's save that. Power Source. Raises strength. Cloud. Just watch your latest Storycraft video. It's amazing how prose can be much more immersive than movies with the proper description of senses other than seeing and hearing. Yeah. Movies are great. They're an audio-visual experience, but you're missing, touch and things. So simulating those is something it's really possible to do with prose. We need to do more of it. Not just do what Brian Niemeyer, he might still be watching. He calls them head movies, which is where you just kind of visually describe what's happening in a story. Like you're watching a movie. Like he does this, then he does this, he does that. He walks over here and hits this person. Rather than the character comes in and feels the hairs on the back of his neck stand up, right? You can communicate that in a movie, but it's difficult. You could show hair standing up on the back of someone's neck, but it's not the same as saying that. You know, he felt that his sweat run cold. The sweat on his skin, he suddenly felt cold and he shivered. Like, these are feelings that are multi-sensory and really can lay the mood for a scene really well. Let's see where this pipe goes. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm going to guess it's the second from the left. That's my guess. Oh, I went down the wrong one. Yeah. It's second from the left. I do like the music though. I can get in the pipe. What is it? What is this power soul? Wait, no. We want... No, let's go ahead and do that. Cure everybody. With Eris, not Aerith. Oh, it's a weapon for Tifa. They don't have her in the party right now. Blade beam. You just have a lot of HP for weird little bugs. Oh great, now I gotta res someone. Dumb. What time is it? Alright, got about 20 more minutes. For a moment I thought David is Parasol and I was imagining whacking a monster with an umbrella. There are umbrella weapons in some games. I always find those fun. World of Warcraft has a lot of weird weapons that are like, you know, mugs or, you know, you have your mug of hurt. Alright. Oh yes, another all materia. Oh, that is awesome. It's like the best thing. Alright, where is it? Oh, I don't have a link here. Alright, let's go Titan Mangle. That's the wrong way. Alright. And then we can do cover. Do all. Death blow. We'll do. I don't think you can death blow everything. This. What is it? Lightning. Lightning. Cover. Alright. Alright, now there's another room up here. I want to go look in that room real quick. You can get a mop for weapon. In World of Warcraft, there's broom weapons, there's pitchfork weapons, There's mop weapons. There's mugs. There's wine glasses as weapons. There's all kinds of weird stuff. All right, let me go in here. Check out these reactors. I don't remember if there's something in here. Let's find out. Oh man, attack from both sides. Look at these guys. Wacky monsters here. There we go. You know, one thing I loved about like certain, I don't know if this is in the first Final Fantasy Tactics, but certain Final Fantasy Tactics games, you could equip a character with like a healing rod, and if you hit somebody with it, it would heal them. So even if they were out of mana, they could walk over to someone and heal them by smashing them in the face with the rod. I just thought that was hilarious. There should be more things like that. It's called beginning of the stream. Consider making career change to teaching a year ago, but with the way everything's shifting towards meta and tablets in the classroom, I reconsidered. What's in here? I love this music. You finished Cyberpunk yet? Yep, I finished it. I'll have a review at some point here because I got to edit footage that just takes longer. I'll probably just put some background footage on rather than like trying to bring up all kinds of specific clips. So I just don't have time to do like that level of editing and do all the other stuff I have to do. I'm not sure if I need to make a save state here. I'm going to do that anyway though. And we're going to go here, overwrite. Yeah, I thought the ending I picked for Cyberpunk was I decided to blow up everything with the nomads, and then I escaped into the desert with them. I was like, that's perfect. Let's leave the city, which I hate, and which my character would like hate, and go do something else. Genova. Can I go in here? Yeah, I went with the Pan Am ending. I romanced her and ended the game with her. It's the best ending, I think. I may do like there's a secret ending where like if you just wait for 5 minutes before making the decision, you can just solo the entire thing, and that's an ending too. What caused Cultural Ground Zero? That is a good question. I think it is many things that happened kind of around the same time that caused Cultural Ground Zero. So one thing is corporate mergers and like the general corporatization of art kind of flatlined everything. So a lot of people don't remember this if you weren't around in the 90s, or even if you were, maybe you weren't aware this is happening because it's not something that's talked about. But there was one company that bought all the radio stations in America, or a huge portion of them, like 75% of all the radio stations in America were bought by a company called Clear Channel Communications in the 1990s. And this was a result of a particular kind of deregulation where they got rid of the limits on the amount of radio stations you could own, but they did not get rid of the limits on the amount on the they got rid of the limits on the number of radio stations you could own, but they didn't deregulate the market so you could open as many radio stations as you wanted in a given area. So what happened was the FCC regulates who's allowed to broadcast based on the content of their broadcast. What that means is, let's say I have a rock station, and let's say Clear Channel owns a rock station in a given market. and you don't like the rock that they play the same 6 songs every hour, and it's really bad. You'd like to open a competing rock station. You can't get a license from the FCC to do so. The only station that's allowed to be a dedicated rock station is owned by Clear Channel. Competition's not allowed. And Clear Channel would buy up every radio station, and every radio station in the country would play the same 6 songs in a payola scheme to benefit the radio station or benefit the record companies, which of course Clear Channel was going to own stock in, right? So you're basically doing a complicated kind of payola. I don't remember if I even need to go this way or if there's any reason to, So it completely destroyed the music industry, and it destroyed the radio industry and made it devoid of... And 1997 is when the buyouts were completed. So in 1997, music ceased to be diverse because all music was owned by one corporation. People wonder why Napster happened. Napster happened because music in the 90s was really quite bad. It was very samey, it was very boring, it was very sanitized. And when you liked a song and you bought the album, it was 12 songs of filler. So people loved Napster because it let you listen to music you actually wanted to hear. It let you only listen to the songs that you actually, wanted to listen to. It was great for a lot of people. But that was because music sucked, and it sucked because of Clear Channel. So in the music sphere, Clear Channel is a big example of that. A lot of studios started getting bought out at that time as well. So there's a lot of other mergers. So that's a big cause of it, in my opinion. The Suicide Run isn't really a different ending since you get the same ending as the Rogue ending, but with her still alive. It's just a lot more fun, and you can skip the BS prep mission. Okay, cool. I might still try it out sometime. You also have a thing where there starts to be such a diversity of elemental materia. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm not going to use it right now because I don't have the right weapon for it. Where am I going? Is this the only thing I came here to get? Can I go out this way? Another cave. This is from the preview area. There's a chest down there. Can I get to it? But I think I have to take a weird way to get to it. There it is. Elixir. Okay. That's worth it. Yeah, the only halfway decent radio stations are college stations. That's by design. Like, they don't have to adhere to the same rules because they're an eclectic station. They're a community station that's like nonprofit. So they just don't have to worry about it as much, which is good. I felt the same way. Like, the only place you could hear metal was on the college radio station, not the, not the local rock station. The local rock station stopped playing metal in 1997 and only played like dumb alternative rock and that kind of stuff, new metal. So we got really no good music for a long time. Really sucks. So you had to order music online or like get it from Napster or something in order to really do anything. Yeah, I'm gonna switch my limit break because I'm not needing to cure a lot of stuff. Yeah, oldies is one like restricted part of the market. You have an oldies station. You never have more than one per market. You never have more than one rock station per market, one alternative station per market, one hip-hop station per market. You know, you're very limited for what you can do with that stuff. I don't remember if I can even go this way. Is this a dead end? I actually don't remember at all. I could look it up. It's almost time to quit, though. There we go. What did you think of Johnny Silverhand overall? I found him annoying. I think people only like him because of Keanu. H. Christ. But what were your thoughts on the character? I liked him as a character. He's intended to be, you know, you have a lot of dialogue options to tell you hate him. He's intended to be a rather acerbic character. He's not real. Like, he's like a memory of who Johnny Silverhand was. He's not really Johnny Silverhand at all. So, I think it's an interesting... I think his presence is very interesting in the story for that reason. Soft jazz, quiet rain stations are always solid. I meant oldies like No Song Before 1968. Yeah, that's an oldie station. Yeah, that was like a really That's a really standard station. Oh, I mean, No Song After 1968 is what I'm thinking of for oldies. Where does this go? Okay. Does this go anywhere? Like, where am I going? Yeah, No Songs After 1968. That's a standard oldie station. Every market's got one, usually. They were really popular in the 90s. Really popular radio stations. But, you know, not too many people, like, sit around and listen to the radio. It's like it's a really cheap kind of entertainment. I think like AM radio is still alive. Live AM radio. Yeah, I like Johnny Silverhand. I thought he was a good character. I did not like him as a person. If that makes sense. I think I got to go back the way I came. Yeah, I think so. Almost time to quit anyway. So play for a few more minutes and then we'll peace out. I haven't even linked all the new books. There's the new fantasy book. There's the Gen Y book. Yeah, the oldie stations now play music from the 80s. When I was a kid, they played 50s and 60s music. Yeah, I don't remember what the FCC classification is, but it's all government run. You have to think that, like, if you deregulate half the market, you end up with monopolies and really perverse things that happen. If you're going to deregulate and let a company own as many radio stations as it wants, you also have to allow as much competition as the market wants. Anyone should be able to open up a competing radio station. But the FCC locks it all down so that nobody has to have any competition. They do it under the guise of, like, you can't have unlimited broadcasting because there's only so many frequencies. You know what I mean? But of course it ends up being used to regulate the content of what you do in a given market. Monsters. I'm gonna get out of here. It's like a little maze. Boy. Couldn't steal anything. Save that limit break for another encounter. Alright, I don't think I can get out that way, right? I think I have to go back the way I came to get out. It's just a long walk. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. One shot all of them. Already went in there. And didn't really find anything. Ooh, a big bird. Great gale. Let's see if I can manipulate this guy. Weak against wind. Couldn't manipulate. See if let's try manipulating him again. See if we can learn that skill. Couldn't manipulate. Alright, we'll just kill him. There we go. We'll go out this way. Boop, boop. Healing wind, free, mana free, heal. All right. There we go. Leveling up that cover materia. There we go. I think it's about time to say goodnight. All right. Out of time. It's 3 o'clock. We got to get on to other business. So thanks so much for watching today and chilling out with me, talking about meta in the metaverse, which I believe is going to be a thing that comes really top down from the corporate world. It'll facilitate a lot of things. It's a solution to lots of problems that have come up since the pandemic, and so I think a lot of corporations and larger educational institutions will start looking at metaverse type solutions to their inability or their the problem with meeting in person. So I think it'll be a solution to those problems, and therefore it'll be adopted from the people who run those corporations, and then people will more or less be forced to use it in order to progress. Just like how you have to use email, you have to have an online account to go to college. It doesn't matter if you think the internet is stupid. If you go back to like 1999, someone's like, I'm not using the internet, it's stupid. It doesn't matter if you think it's stupid. The point is that you have to use that tool if you want to have a job, So that's what I'm really afraid of. And then the amount of tracking they can do in VR and the way they can manipulate you in VR is much greater than this thing, which you can put in your pocket, leave at home. It's a more immersive and unavoidable thing. But I don't think, in a lot of ways, I don't think it'll be as bad as old social media as far as being unescapable. You actually have to take the headset off and walk away from it to do normal things. So that means you can leave it in a little area. It might actually be better for people in that sense, but certainly the idea of tracking every expression on your face has some potentially frightening implications. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next time. The books are in the description. I'll also link Keys to Prolific Creativity because it's just a great book on developing your creative process. So have a great one, and I will see you all next time.